The Prentice Cooper Forest lies just outside of Chattanooga, Tennessee, and spans nearly 25,000 acres. The area is perfect for day hikes, trail running, ATVs, hunting, and in some instances, overnight backpacking. We made sure to go during the summer when hunting was out of season and had planned for a 2-day out and back trip.
There's going to be some people who want to do this trail, and they're going to be as confused as we are, because we tried going to the Rainbow Lake trailhead and then the Signal Mountain trailhead, but you can't park overnight at either of those. So we had to drive for 30 minutes to the Cumberland trailhead, which is in Prentice Cooper, and then from there we hiked 4 miles in, right? 4 miles? So we're 4 miles in. We passed by the Indian Rock House and some cool stairs there. Saw a really cool view of the Tennessee River. We crossed a bridge.
I wish, I don't know, that I have more pennies to throw in the lake.
Now we're at some campground, I think. It's been pretty good so far.
After stopping for some snacks and admiring the cliff rock face, we continued to press forward, mostly uphill. And then we found the most breathtaking overlook of the entire trip.
Brave going, looking through that.
This lookout is known as Lawson's Rock, and from here you can see the mountain that we started from, the mountain that we were going to climb, the Tennessee River, and a glimpse of downtown Chattanooga. After taking plenty of photos and spending much time observing, we continued on. You don't need a permit to camp in Prentice Cooper, but they do require that you camp in designated campsites. And the next campsite was the North Suck Creek campsite, which we estimated to be a little over 4 miles away, which shouldn't be too hard to reach, but we knew that we had quite a bit of elevation to climb.
Oh, there's a tick on my sock.
Get that tick off your sock.
You want to know what makes me tick?
We filtered some fresh water at a creek, and then we pressed on, uphill. There was a short road crossing about 1.5 miles before our campsite. We crossed the road, a small bridge over a creek, and then began the sharp elevation climb.
As soon as we crossed the road, it started raining and started thunderstorming a little bit. It came down pretty hard. But we also had to climb up a really steep hill in the rain because there's no switchbacks, it was just straight up.
We took a long break at the top and waited for the rain to slow down. Once it came to a drizzle, we pressed on. It was literally downhill from there, and this time it was mostly switchbacks, heading down into the valley and finally crossing the North Suck Creek Bridge. This is where we set up camp for the night. Some of us were in hammocks, others in tents, but all of us had a warm meal and crashed pretty hard when night fell. The next morning we packed up, ate a quick breakfast, and began making our way back to the car, the same way that we came in. Thankfully, the crazy elevation was the first thing that we encountered in the morning. When we made it 1.5 miles back over the mountain into the road, we unfortunately had to leave Andrew behind due to an injury. He watched our packs and the trail running began. Nathan, Luke, and myself pressed on to retrieve the car and pick Andrew up at the road crossing. We made it about 1/2 mile before we realized that Luke forgot his keys, so he had to run back and get them, adding an extra mile to his total trek. We stopped to filter some water and cool down only once, and then hustled to make it back to the car as quickly as possible. Prentice Cooper really is an incredible place. We only saw 16 miles of it, but it was full of mountains and rock ledges, caves, rivers, and creeks. It even rained on us again when we were close to the car, but we just so happened to come across Indian Rock and was able to take shelter. It seemed like no matter how exhausted or defeated we felt, the nature was there at just the right time to remind us what we were out there for. We made it back to the car, picked up Andrew, ate a giant greasy cheeseburger, and then started coming home. All the while talking about the next adventure that we're going to take.